Mrs. Merkel in trouble, election coming up in September, terrorist attacks, and of course, on New Year's Eve 2015, those mass open sexual assaults on the streets of Cologne, all leading to the police getting tough and racially profiling and stopping people from North Africa going into the centre of town. I have to say, we've heard both sides of the argument, but overwhelmingly, what is coming in through text and through other forms of social media is support for the chief. Hi, Nigel, chief of police, absolutely doing his job, protecting the public. Honestly, where's people's common sense? Agree with the caller Ryan from earlier. Thank you, Anne in Blackburn. And that is typical. The German police did the right thing, no question. Liberals infuriate me, who have no experience of these awful things, Rob in Cambridge. And that's generally the majority response that we're getting, is that the number of arrests, the number of sexual assaults was massively down. The police did what they had to do. Some callers, though, making the point you don't want to offend an entire community. Neil in Woking, what do you make of it all?
Hi, Nigel. Listen, you got to give me a moment to laud the kudos on you. First of all, I want to congratulate you for being the prime architect of Brexit. It is like the American Revolution without any bloodshed.
Well, sadly, yes. Neil, I said that on the night of the referendum, that we'd done it without a shot being fired, and then I forgot that, of course, Joe Cox had been murdered. But that aside, I agree with you. Normally, battles for independence mean you've got to put on uniforms and fight, and we did it through the ballot box, and that was a very good thing.
Indeed, and I was thrilled with the result. By the way, before I get labeled as a total right-wing conservative, I'm of the Common Sense Party.
Wow.
Which is to say,
are you the leader of the party, Neil? I mean, how many members have you got?
I'm all alone, apparently. But indeed, I feel there's this reluctance on our part in the Western world in general to enforce our culture, our laws, our way of life. Why is it if we visit somewhere in the Middle East, for example, or Asia or whatever, we implicitly have to comply with their culture and their laws? If not, we would be sternly punished, if not put to death. And yet, when they break our laws, no, we're being racist. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Well, doesn't this all go down to the fact that the fish rots from the head down, and our leaders have frankly been ashamed of who we are? I mean, this country, Neil, that you're in, we have a Christian constitution. The Queen is defender of the faith. We've lived by a Judeo-Christian culture for centuries, and yet we seem to be terrified of standing up and saying that for fear that it might cause offence to somebody else. We've had in the last few years people say, don't talk about Christmas. That might offend non-Christians. Talk about Winterval. Well, to hell with that. And that's really what you're saying, isn't it, Neil? That we've kind of lost our muscularity about who we are.
Yeah, I feel the identity crisis is profound in this country. And don't get me wrong, I've been here, not that long, but I love this country. I love the UK. I would proudly be a citizen if they would grab me. Talk to Theresa.
It's going to start getting very tough now after Brexit, Neil,
But I absolutely believe, yes, the UK needs to stand rigid, especially now that Brexit is in place. You need to absolutely, clarify your identity with the world. It's like, no, this is what we are. This is what we stand for. This is our country. Here's our laws. If you wish to live here, if you want to coexist with us, this is what you need to comply with. We're not, going to kowtow to you. This is our laws. This is our culture.
Yeah, and we will respect your private observance and your differences, but we have the rule of law in this country, and we're going to enforce it. And perhaps if we'd done that, some of the terrible sexual crimes that we saw in Britain, in towns like Rotherham, would not have happened. And Neil, tell me, is Trump going to be a good president?
I think he would be. I'm a little bit concerned about that administration he's been picking.
Right.
He's got some fairly extreme people in these, rather powerful positions. I think Trump knows how to delegate, and he knows what he wants, and he will get, as you said, he's the silverback alpha male. You know,
oh yes,
he absolutely will get it. But I'm just a little bit nervous about that administration.
It's going to be fascinating, and thank you very much indeed for your call. Martin in Glasgow. Martin, what do you make of the police's behaviour?
Hi, Nigel. Just before I say it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
And well done to you, sir, for all your hard work over the years. Let me say the police were perfectly correct what they did. I think that Merkel should be put in jail. Basically, it's disgraceful what she has done. She said, as you've said many times, that she's let a million in, or not more.
Yeah.
They don't know who they are. They could be criminals, and most of them won't be, but a lot of them will be. And to me, it's perfectly simple. As soon as somebody has found to do what they were doing last New Year, they should be immediately deported. To me, that's easy. There should be no qualms about it. They're arrested for doing. And I'll tell you, these lefties that are phoning up, I would suggest if it was their mother or sister or whatever, it would be a different thing altogether then.
Well, you talk about deported, Martin. Don't forget that the guy that killed those people in the Berlin Christmas market had already been in prison in Italy, but of course had come into Germany, had been rejected as an asylum seeker, and yet had not been deported. So it goes to show, doesn't it, that actually it isn't just, the previous caller talked about us standing up for our culture more. I think the rest of Europe needs to start doing the same thing, really.
I think, as you said, look at that Roland thing in this country. I was in disbelief when I heard that.
I know.
It's because people are frightened of this ludicrous allegation of racism.
It's crackers.
Aimed in their right mind can see it's ludicrous what's going on there.
Yep.
And to me, they should be immediately sent back to where they came from if they've caused that amount of trouble.
Yeah. Is that what the SNP would say?
Let's put it this way, Nigel. I think you know the answer to that.
I do. I'm sorry I asked it. Martin, thank you very much indeed for your call. And lastly, we're going to go to Jim in High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire. Jim, hello. What do you make of it all? Racial profiling, does it work?
Well, to be honest, I'm absolutely amazed that they came to their senses enough to do it. I mean, what we've seen for so long in Europe is extremism, and by that I mean extreme tolerance.
Yes.
And I don't mean extremely tolerant, I mean extreme tolerance. And unfortunately, the equal and opposite reaction to extreme tolerance eventually is extreme intolerance. And surely to steer a more moderate and sensible course would be, in the long term, beneficial to us all. And I think it's perfectly moderate to turn away people that are even, 20% more likely to commit an offence. I know it's harsh on the people that are innocent, but at the end of the day, what happened the year before happened, and if something hadn't have been done about it and it had happened again, all hell would have broken loose. So, I think the police were absolutely right.
It was,
but nevertheless, I'm amazed they did it, given the recent.
Yeah, well, I think Jim, change is coming. No, Jim, I understand that, and thank you. And I have to say, my own view on this is, I think the German authorities literally had no choice. The normally quiet, placid German people are frightened, they are angry, and they're beginning to turn to different political parties. They're beginning to criticise the European system of free movement. They're looking at Angela Merkel, who, in my opinion, made the worst policy decision of any modern political leader in unconditionally saying, whoever wants to come, we can cope, we can deal with you. I think it was an absolutely disastrous, irresponsible thing to do. She is fighting for her political life. She's fighting for the future survival of the European project too. And I agree with the last caller saying he was surprised they had the guts to do it. Believe me, you can expect a lot more behaviour like this from the German authorities. Big change is coming to the politics of Germany and the rest of Europe too. Well, we next are going to my favourite business organisations, the CBI, the IOD, the industrial manufacturing engineers, all the people who I fought so hard against during the referendum. But now they're saying, do you know what? let's look forward to 2017. Let's make a success of things. Let's get on with Brexit. Let's bring the country together. Let's be a success. It's music to my ears. It's the new year. Should we all crack out the booze and celebrate? Because we're now all coming together. Oh gosh, I can't. I've given it up for January.
See you next time.